During the 2 horror seasons that I did where I didn't only review film series, I reviewed one of Kevin Smith's horror movies. And I wanted to do that again, but at the same time I didn't really want to watch Yoga Hosers, so I decided to talk about the anthology movie Holidays. Although he didn't direct the entire movie, he did direct one of the segments. Holidays is a movie that takes multiple holidays and puts a dark spin on them. These include Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Halloween, Christmas, and New Year's Eve. Like every anthology movie, the quality of these stories are quite mixed, ranging from being really pretty interesting to absolutely awful. So let's treat this like a review of multiple short films. Each story will get a review and I will create an average out of all of those to determine the final rating of the film. The first story is Valentine's Day, directed by the directors of Starry Eyes. The film is about a girl who is bullied. She has a crush on her gym teacher who is having a secret fling with one of the bullies. He overhears the girls making fun of her and decides to write her a Valentine's card. Afterwards, the girl kills the main bully, cuts her heart out and hands it to the gym teacher. Honestly, the biggest problem I had with this one was just how short it was. Like, I was really interested in this story, but it ended up being one of the shortest ones in the movies and ended up being kind of forgettable because of it. This is one of the only stories in the film that I would actually really be interested in seeing adapted into a full movie. I give this segment a 7.5 out of 10. The next story is St. Patrick's Day, from the director of Dracula Untold. This is by far the worst in the film. Like, it's just flat out bad. The plot is about some teacher. She has a student that's obsessed with her and starts drawing weird pictures. Then one day the teacher becomes pregnant, but not with a baby, with a snake. She starts to go insane, gives birth to a snake. The child somehow gets in her house. She follows the child, finds out that she slept with her dad, who was obviously the person who impregnated her with a snake. I'm not really sure what just happened. On the one hand, it's actually pretty well directed, but it's just too stupid and weird for me to enjoy. And it'd be kind of alright if it was somewhat comedic and intentionally stupid, but it's played so seriously, like it's a super dark Rosemary's Baby ripoff. In fact, there's even a character who references it being like Rosemary's Baby, but with a snake. This segment is so bad that it almost made me give up on the film completely. I'm not even kidding, this part was absolutely awful. I give it a 2 out of 10. The next segment is Easter, and similar to Valentine's Day, it's a good segment, but is sadly way too short. This one is from the director of the film The Pact. It's about a girl who is afraid of what will happen if she wakes up and sees the Easter Bunny. She ends up doing this, and the Easter Bunny is this weird, creepy looking creature. The Easter Bunny says that if you see the Easter Bunny, then you replace him and become the new Easter Bunny. This is a really interesting one, not that creepy, but definitely interesting. It would have been cool to see it expanded a little bit. I give it a 7 out of 10. The next one is Mother's Day, and either this is the longest one in the film or it just felt like it, because I was really not a fan of this one. The idea is kind of interesting, but they don't explain anything, and due to the limitations of it being kind of a short film, it definitely struggles to really breathe and feels incredibly compact. Even for its length, it still feels like it should have been much longer. The idea is there's a girl who gets pregnant no matter what every time she has sex. She is advised to go to a group of people who are going through rituals in the hope of improving their chances of getting pregnant. The group ends up being a coven and they impregnate her with something. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but like a fully grown arm comes out at the end. It has some interesting ideas that it just doesn't seem to really have a clue on how to expand upon. And in the end, because of that, I just ended up finding it really boring. I give this one a 4 out of 10. The next one is Father's Day, probably the best one in the whole film. A woman receives a tape from her father who she believed to be dead. The tape has instructions on how to find him. On the tape, she can hear her father talking to her as a kid while walking to the location. She finds a weird portal and ends up in a nightmarish landscape. She sees this weird creature and then drops the tape recorder. It's definitely a really strange segment, but it's incredibly tense and exciting. I was absolutely gripped throughout the whole thing, probably more so than I was during any of the other segments. I give it a 9 out of 10. The next one is Halloween, which is the segment directed by Kevin Smith. This segment is about Harley from Epic Mealtime. I don't know why, but he's in this for some reason. He plays a guy who runs a cam girl business. He's incredibly rude to the girls and doesn't let them go out on Halloween. They knock him out and he awakens in front of a laptop with a vibrator glued inside of his asshole attached to a car battery. The girls tell him to show them his pussy or they'll turn the vibrator up to the highest setting. But he has to make one using a knife. That is the segment. It's definitely one of the stranger ones, and I did find myself actually surprisingly quite enjoying it. It was well written, incredibly messed up, and somewhat comedic as well. I'm not really sure why this one got so much hate in the reviews I read, because I thought it was actually really unique. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. The next segment is Christmas, from the director of Legion, Priest, and Dark Skies. This one stars Seth Green as a father who goes out on Christmas Eve to get his son a last-minute present. A guy gets the last one before him, but then collapses on the floor. Instead of helping him, Seth Green takes the present and runs away. The present is a VR device that searches your mind and shows you exactly what you want to see. He goes to use it one night for porn, but ends up getting a POV clip of the guy who died. He forgets to log out and his wife finds it, and she finds it incredibly hot and they have sex for some reason. Then the next day he uses it and finds that his wife hasn't logged out and she has a POV video of a guy being killed by her. And that's that one. It's an interesting idea and it's definitely really funny, but I wasn't the biggest fan for some reason. I don't know why, but I didn't really get into this. I give it a 6.5 out of 10. And the final segment is New Year's Eve. A serial killer meets his victims online and takes them home and kills them. But when going to do it with one girl, the roles are reversed and she ends up killing him. Definitely a really tense and fun segment. There's not much I can say about this segment because honestly I actually completely forgot it existed. But I still enjoyed it. But the problem I have with it is it's kind of quite a whimper to end on. Like, I was hoping for something big to end the movie on, and this really doesn't do that. And the film just kind of ends. I give this last segment a 7 out of 10. And the final average of the movie is a 6.5 out of 10. And I think that's about a perfect score for the film. There are a couple of segments that really work and are super fun and exciting, but a large portion of the movie just drags on and isn't really that interesting. It's not the worst anthology movie I've ever seen, and definitely one I'd recommend checking out if you're a fan of horror, because when it's good, it is really, really good.